we were talking about Nigerian politics and how the atmosphere keeps changing. And of course, the recent development focuses on the coalition movement and its cry for help when it comes to the activities of the government in power, especially from the perspective of the operations of the EFCC. The former governor of Sokoto State and former speaker of the House of Representatives, Senator Aminu Tambuwal, over his arrest by the EFCC on alleged 189 billion naira diversion has caused quite the controversy. The EFCC insists it is acting within its constitutional mandate, saying that there is no political pressure whatsoever to go after opposition figures. Well, the ADC disagrees. Let's speak about some of those concerns and their merits or otherwise of the conversation. Joining us here in the studio is Dr. Ladan Salihu. He is a senior figure in the coalition movement to break down the allegations, the concerns, and the politics of the conversation. Dr. Salihu, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Right. Why is the ADC drawing this conclusion this early when the investigation has just begun?
Well, I think ADC is just mirroring the emotions and the disappointments of, Nigerians generally. You may want to ask a rhetorical question. Why now? Why should anybody, arrest a former governor? Did not come up with a reason to do so 2 years ago. And when you look at the whole scenario, there's no way you can convince Nigerians that this is not politically motivated. He has just left the PDP and he's a member of the ADC, and he is very vocal, very vociferous, and he is a towering figure in Nigerian politics and in the Northwest. So it is a game of high stakes, not so much because it is Tambuwal, but because of what Tambuwal represents in the political space in the northwestern part of Nigeria, and indeed in the north generally. So when you contemplate arresting such an individual on, the allegations, that you've just talked about, 189 billion of public funds. Look, across the border into Zamfara, I think in May 2024, an APC youth group, APC Young Leaders, they call themselves Young Leaders Alliance, marched to the headquarters of the EFCC, presented a petition to the effect that a former governor of Zamfara State, they were accusing him of allegedly embezzling 528 billion, almost more than twice the amount of money that we're talking about in the case of Tambuwal. Nothing has been done to that gentleman, and he is serving in the cabinet. So, look, nobody is going to be fooled to believe that this is not cherry-picking investigation. The EFCC is a novel idea. The EFCC has a legitimate right to undertake an investigation to prosecute Nigerians that are found to be, wanting in one form or the other of financial misdemeanor or financial crimes. Nobody is arguing about that. Right. You and I are on the same page with Nigerians that we must fight corruption. We must confront corruption head on. But the manner in which selective arrests are being made, and they are being made, without any, without the public being carried along, it brings about a lot of suspicion.
But Doctor, you would agree that there are certain things that you're not privy to when it comes to the investigation. Say, for instance, you don't know what the EFCC knows about those allegations?
Certainly.
Right. So having known that fact, that there are known unknowns, what cause do you have to believe that this is politically motivated? You say, why now? Some would say, why not now?
Yeah, we are in an information age, and transparency and due process and due diligence. And coming up with the facts and telling Nigerians, it's not rocket science. It's not a defense or security issue that can be swept under the carpet and Nigerians will not be made to know. So the things that I may not know or you don't know, and I certainly don't know, they are not so huge in terms of, letting people to have the need to know. Now, if I get my facts right, at a point in time, there were 18, I think, senators and a number of governors that have been on the, by the admission of the EFCC, that have been on the radar of the EFCC under investigation. Now, what am I saying? The ADC is saying, okay, you can arrest any Nigerian that you have the facts or figures that will necessitate any investigation. But then you must accord such an individual or individuals the same rights that were accorded other, Nigerian politicians in the past. If you arrested or Fayose submitted himself to the EFCC like, Tambuwal did yesterday, one would have expected that the same process that Fayose went through will be the same process that Tambuwal will go through, and then he will be asked to go while
Doctor, isn't that tantamount to the opposition telling EFCC how to do its job? Because the EFCC has also gone after APC members. If there are no sacred cows as far as the politics of the day is concerned, why should Nigerians believe what the ADC is saying right now, that Aminu Tambuwal, who is a prominent political figure in Nigerian politics and in the ranks of the ADC, is being selectively victimized? Well,
let me take it this way, and then I'll come back to the answer. Look, I'm told that a member of the ADC, also a high-profile politician from Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha, was invited. And you will ask yourselves, or Nigerians will ask you and me, someone who has been a governor for 7 months, it took 7 years for him to be invited. On the same day that Tambuwal was equally invited. So what we are saying, we're not questioning the legitimacy, we're not questioning the right of the EFCC to investigate or even arrest anybody. We're saying if you do it in a manner that suggests to, political gladiators that you are after someone, not necessarily because of an alleged crime or financial misdemeanor that person may have committed, then you are giving the impression that it is done, ostensibly to just go after the opposition. What we want is to have a transparent process, to have a process that guarantees that when an investigation is being conducted, it is conducted in a manner that will portray to Nigerians the credibility and integrity of the process in a way that when it is concluded, everybody will be satisfied that justice and, and fair play, played out.
Yeah, but Doctor, someone would say, listen, if they have nothing to hide, if they've done nothing wrong, surely they will come out unscathed. So why are you worried about it?
We are worried about it because there's hardly anywhere you see smoke without, you see smoke without fire, or fire without smoke. We are worried because at this point, the dagger, or if you like, the arsenal, the guns are ranged against, prominent opposition figures. And
I mean, this is just one person. There's so many opposition figures. It's just one person who is in detention, one person who has been invited.
Yes, what we are concerned, and I want to repeat it again and again and again, what we are concerned is the credibility and integrity of the process, conducted in a transparent manner that will convince Nigerians that there aren't any, underhand tactics or some people pulling the strings or even using the EFCC to justify certain political ends. And we are legitimately worried about that, and it is our legitimate concern. It is now left for the EFCC. They have a spokesperson to explain to you and me and Nigerians that this has been a transparent process. Nobody is trying to hide.
Yeah, the chairman just said earlier in the day that, listen, the EFCC is not a political tool that has been used to witch hunt anybody politically. Why don't you believe what the chairman of the EFCC is saying?
The EFCC chairman has a right to, defend his own organization. You don't expect him, I don't expect him to sit back and just keep quiet when these things are being done. What we insist and what we are calling on the EFCC to do is to give due consideration to politicians that have pedigree, politicians that have not had any reason to appear in court for any, record of financial crimes or financial wrongdoing.
You're talking about a special treatment?
Not a special treatment. By self-recognition, you call it. It's done. And we are worried because if that can happen to Aminu Tambuwal, the distinguished senator, then we are afraid as a political, coalition that maybe someday we may wake up. And I'm not saying this is waiting to happen. Maybe one day we will wake up and a certain mark will be marked for the same kind of treatment. To say probably the man served as the senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Senate president, and you're likely to also want to ask him to speak about his tenure.
Doctor, if the goal or the objective of an investigation is to unearth crime or criminal activity or wrongdoing, whatever the case is, why should there be sacred cows because of their position in society?
Why should we have sacred cows that have cases attached to them, serving in government, serving in the National Assembly, in the leadership of the National Assembly and elsewhere? Why are they not seen and given the same treatment like Tambuwal? All we are saying is that level the playing field. Ensure that it is done to everybody. Do not do it just to one individual and you do it at the time of your choosing. No. You should do it in a manner that will convince Nigerians. I don't have a reason to sit down here and begin to, speak about the EFCC in the manner I am doing, because it's an institution that is established by law that protects the financial space of Nigerians. So I will be proud to sit down here someday, even tomorrow, to say, look, I will speak about the APC, the EFCC in glowing terms and pay tribute to, whatever it is that they are succeeding in. But right now, we as a political coalition are worried because, look, he is one of the sterling midwives of the political process in the evolution of the ADC. And we're at the critical moment in the metamorphosis of our own party. We are trying to get, our, feet firm on the ground. And if you create a jolt, if you throw spanner in the works, and we are not saying you should delay the investigation, no. We are saying if you are courageous enough to take on Senator Aminu Tambuwal, you should also revisit the case or cases of several others in the same institution that he serves.
Right. Some would say, it's about whataboutism. What about this person instead of what actually the EFCC is saying about those 189 billion naira allegedly, misappropriated.
Yes.
But the question is, Doctor, if I can get to the point.
Yes, please.
What if you're wrong about your allegations of political interference?
If I am wrong, no, that is a rhetorical question. I mean, it is.
What if the ADC is crying wolf? What if an actual crime has been committed? Like you just admitted, you don't know all the facts about what the EFCC has as far as its investigation is concerned.
Yes.
So what if we go to the courts tomorrow and realize that, listen, actually EFCC has a case here?
Look,
what then?
From the records of the Sokoto state government, the amount that, he's been alleged to have misappropriated, or they are investigating him on, records in the treasury of the Sokoto state government are explicitly clear that there was no wrongdoing. And those were monies expended on salaries and other expenditures that were appropriately and correctly captured under several subheads. I have seen the figures. We don't have time for us to, I don't have time to reel down the figures because I don't have the figures right here. But what I do know is that when this investigation is done and dusted, Aminu Tambuwal will come out with a clean bill of health. Like I said, it is legitimate. It is within the function of the law. Whenever there is an allegation for EFCC to investigate, and there is nothing wrong in EFCC investigating Tambuwal or any other Nigerian, that is their duty. Right. What we are concerned about is the way and manner in which it's being done. We believe that, and it is our own belief, it is now left for the EFCC by the way of due diligence and transparent investigation. If he is found guilty, the law should take its course.
Right. Okay.
It's a normal process in investigation and in the judicial process.
Right. Some would say, let the ADC put faith in the system if you believe that the system will do justice to anybody who is, in the crosshairs of the EFCC or any other anti-graft agency. But finally, Doctor, just before we go, there are some who have also expressed this concern that this is sending a signal to all those who are trying to join the ADC that maybe this intimidation tactics, quote unquote, is going to be deployed. Do you worry that this could impact the morale of people within your ranks?
No, not at all. If anything, this has energized, the ADC. This has made Nigerians to believe that the ADC is the platform that is there politically and democratically to challenge the existing political status quo, to bring about the change of leadership that we all require in 2027, and that the more such tactics of intimidation and harassment are deployed, the more powerful and the more we generate verve and gusto to pursue this legitimate end of political realignment of forces, that is the coalition, and ultimately to take over the control of power in 2027.
Dr. Ladan, good to see you again. Thank you so much for the analysis. I appreciate you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Right.
Thank you.
And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us on Daily Politics. We'll be back tomorrow live at 8 p.m. exclusive as always on Trust TV. Until next time, I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.